Welcome back to Tough Men of Faith, RT.
Who's over there sitting next to you still, Nick?
Shane Steward.
Hey, here I am.
Still here.
Yeah.
Still sitting close to you.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
You know, last one was,
Easy.
a little above
Yeah.
average
Yeah.
for a podcast.
Yeah,
For
absolutely.
our podcast.
Yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, we were rushed.
I mean, this is no Theo Vaughn or anything, but, you
yeah,
know, it's
well,
a good time.
Hey,
Yeah.
we can put some of that in there.
Yeah. Let's edit some Theo in there, Blake.
Put them right here between us.
Oh, yeah. You know who that is, RT? He's a comedian.
No,
Oh, he's really funny.
Oh, he's
I
super
don't.
funny. Yeah.
He's off the wall funny.
I don't get most references.
Oh,
So, yeah.
Okay.
Who's your favorite comedian?
I don't know.
So I'll give my good Bible answer.
All right, go ahead.
My good Christian answer, right, is Nate Bargatze.
Okay, yeah, I don't know.
So
him.
Nate Bargatze's phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look him up on YouTube, along with looking up this podcast on YouTube, but Nate Bargatze's fantastic, and then Theo Vaughn's hilarious.
Yeah.
Shane Gillis is
Yeah, Shane Gillis is good.
He's funny.
What's
don't know
the
these
what's the
interviews.
Two Bears One Cave?
No.
Bert.
Yeah, Bert Kreischer.
Yeah, and then
Tom Segura.
that's right.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams.
Yeah.
They're not
I've heard of
clean.
Dave Chappelle.
They're not clean, but they're
You've heard of
hilarious.
Dave Chappelle.
That's
Joe,
good.
And Joe Rogan. He's a comedian too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, somewhat.
Yeah.
I haven't heard his comedy stuff. Is he good?
I don't know. I haven't heard.
Personally, I think he's really good on the podcast.
Okay.
I don't enjoy his
Comedy show. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good
We were
to know.
supposed to have a comedian on here, remember?
Nope.
Then I think he got sick or something had to cancel, and we haven't
Really?
rescheduled yet. Yeah. Isn't that right, Blake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Like a local comedian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's, I don't know, fairly famous locally.
We need to get him back.
Ostrich Way.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's Daniel's buddy.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on, then something happened. So
That
he
actually
wants
doesn't
to come back
surprise me.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Call him up. Get him
We'll,
over here.
we'll
Let's
get
see
him
what
back
happens.
on. Yeah. I mean, there's a long line of people trying to get on the podcast.
That's true. Hey.
Hey, that's not true. I texted you guys yesterday. I've had some people reach out to me.
Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Like it used to be, we'd beg people to come on.
Yeah.
And now it's had people reaching out to me to come on. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Hey, when you reached out to me, it ended up being
And that guy,
a
he's
few
like
months
a-
before I could even.
you
get
didn't
on.
even respond.
I didn't.
Right?
I didn't.
I mean, I didn't want to bring that up.
They put you on the back burner.
I don't really. So I should have said this last time. I don't really know Shane that well. We met at a meeting for pastors.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a real heart for like what you're doing, like at your church.
Sure.
It sounded exciting.
Yeah.
Your wife was there. It's great talking with you
yeah.
guys.
Absolutely.
And I knew I wanted to connect with you at some point. And I thought, man, he'd be a great interview. So I sent him
Yeah.
a Facebook message because I don't have his number.
Yeah.
Yep.
Still don't. He didn't give it to
He's
me.
like, oh,
So
man,
they'll
it's that
not-
creepy dude from the meeting.
So
Yeah.
I would have replied sooner, but the problem is that I looked for you guys. I couldn't find you on YouTube.
No, yeah.
So I was like,
Well, we're
what,
there.
What kind of thing is this really?
Right.
What kind of
I
circus
just
is this?
yeah. I thought, well, maybe he doesn't
Oh, it's a
reply to
circus.
Facebook messages. Yeah.
No, the Facebook message. I don't know what happened. I guess I had opened it or something and then never
Went right
went
on past
through.
it.
I guess.
It kind of looked like a sales pitch of something.
Yeah.
So I was just like,
Like, no, I'm not
Yeah.
buying that today.
I was like, oh,
Yeah.
he got hacked. He doesn't have a podcast. I met him. That's not real.
It says tough men. That's not him.
I
Yeah.
met this guy. Who does he think
Yeah.
he is? RT, real tough. Sure, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my nickname growing up. Really
Yeah.
tough. It was
Really?
on my graduation hat when I graduated.
Yeah.
Really tough. RT.
There you go.
Thanks for recognizing that.
No problem.
I don't even know where it's going, but I was saying I didn't know you well and invited you on, and
What's Blake doing?
I don't know, man.
He's like moving everything.
He is. Okay, so here we go. We had you on last week. It went okay. Thought I'd have you on again.
Yeah.
Wanted to talk a little bit about using our talents to serve. So as men, I would say anybody, but specifically we're talking to men. God gives all of us different gifts, which we've talked about some.
Right.
But those gifts he gives us, I think, for service
Right.
is the reason men have it. Like we should be serving. So want to talk about some like what talents you guys have.
Like good looks.
No.
No.
And then, hey, can you have your Bible app?
I can get it.
I think it's 1 Peter 4:10. I didn't really prepare much for this.
It's not working.
Is that what you say to start your sermons too?
No, I try to prepare for that.
Okay.
Sometimes I just give
Turn
up.
to 1 Peter 4:10. I didn't really prepare much for this.
I prepared this last week.
Oh,
We had the
have you
kids
heard
in the
his sermons?
auditorium. Man,
No.
Oh,
Is
there.
he on YouTube?
No, he's not.
yeah, we are.
There you go.
Oh yeah, I guess we are. I'm always sitting second row. I never see him. 1 Peter 4:10. You ready?
Oh, go ahead. I was going to come to it later, but yeah, let's go ahead and read it. Well, hopefully this
We
is
can do it
right.
later.
Does it have something to do with talents?
Something like that.
All right, read the verse.
As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace.
Yeah, there we go. As everyone received a gift.
Yeah.
You're reading the ESV?
Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone has...
Can we change version for you?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Everyone has a gift, right?
Go to the message.
That's,
Yeah.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
I like
You guys
that
are both out of control. every time we have a guest on here, they become best friends with Nick. In about
You put us
15
right
minutes.
next to each other.
It doesn't matter if I was sitting between you. We had a guest once who I knew since I was a kid, and we stand up at the end to say goodbye, and he looks at me and basically says goodbye, and he's giving Nick a big bear hug. Which I didn't want a big bear hug, but anyways.
I'm
But
likable.
You didn't want one until you saw him get one.
Yeah, maybe I'm just likable. You think about that?
Maybe.
Okay.
Okay, so the verse.
Like I'm not like very well versed like you, like a pastor, but
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
I'm very
no.
well versed in like, you know, relating to other people.
Yeah. Listen, I told someone the other day that you'd make a lot better like shepherd pastor than I do.
Okay.
So I think maybe God's moving you in that direction. So.
I don't think so.
Well-
I got up on stage the other day to give you a gift basket.
Oh, I know.
I'm never getting up there again, ever.
I know.
Yeah,
Anyways.
400 eyes looking back at me. Like, what is this idiot doing?
1 Peter 4:10 says that everyone has a gift, right?
Right.
And can you read it one more time, man? You threw me
can.
off by talking about 400 eyes looking at you.
Right? Because you're thinking about that. As each has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace.
Yeah, so gift there being a talent.
Mhm.
Use it to serve others. So I think we all have gifts, like a talent that we have. And so those are going to work, and how are we going to use them? That type
Right.
of. I thought we could talk some about that today.
All right.
Yeah.
I have the talent of comedy,
A talent of comedy.
and it brings
okay.
everyone in.
It brings them
Most
in.
people. Some people it turns away.
Let's start with this. We'll jump into like more of a minute. But when did you realize, like, because I think at a younger age, you begin to realize some things that probably you're good at or not so good at. Like, did you guys begin to realize, like, hey, there's some things I'm really good at, or a talent God has given me?
Yeah. I am really good at relating with people.
Okay.
People just all different backgrounds, different walks. Doesn't really matter where you're from. I bet I can find something that we relate about. But public speaking, I'm out.
Yeah.
I can do it in front of 10 or 20, but 100, I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. So I think your talents just like naturally work, and you begin to see it. And when you can lean into like what you're naturally good at. So Nick and I the other day were at a waiting room together, and we go to leave, and Nick stands up, and I've been out there by myself some, and Nick stands up to leave, and he's talking to people like he's best friends with them, asking what they
Right.
need while we're gone.
Yeah.
And I was feeling bad because here
We're
I
at
am
the
like,
hospital.
yeah, I'm the
Well,
pastor.
people are waiting in a waiting room, you know, and it's like, y'all need anything while we're gone? Like,
Yeah.
we're going to lunch. And
Yeah, and this natural, and people love it. You were
Yeah.
talking to them, you cared about it. It's like this a natural gift you have,
Right.
right? So,
yeah, I will pick you up a pizza and bring it back up to
yeah,
this
and you,
42-degree waiting
Yep.
room
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the heat doesn't work.
yeah. So I think you realized that at a young age.
Yeah.
You were good at that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at a pretty young age, I realized that a couple things. I had a real passion for being right. So I had this gift of being able to find an argument in anything. So that wasn't necessarily the most beneficial thing for my childhood, but
Yeah.
it served me well going on, later on in life. But I've always been somebody that's similar to you, where it's just like people like you. They want to be around you, and it allows you the opportunity to find yourself in positions
Well, you can feed into people.
you can feed into people and,
Yeah.
and things that you wouldn't have necessarily seen yourself doing.
Right.
And that's what's ultimately happened for me, as I never saw myself in the ministry. I never saw myself running a business. I never saw myself doing a lot of the things that I've done. But I think when you care about people and when you serve people, you end up finding yourself a lot of times in a position where you have a lot of influence with people, and you're able to make a big impact because you spent so much time serving. I think when you look at Joseph, I think in the Bible, Joseph is
Yeah.
a really clear picture of that. I mean, every spot he found himself in, he was just faithful. And we talked about last week in the podcast,
Yeah.
and just faithful in that and doing what you're called to do, or what God's put on your heart there. And his skills were used, his talents were used to help move him into a place that it becomes second only to Pharaoh. I'm still waiting on that part.
Yeah.
If I just stay faithful.
Stay faithful.
Yeah.
The money will roll in.
That's
what
right.
Oh, we're going to a mega church in Houston. It's okay. I can call him out. I'm not a pastor.
Yeah, the problem is people confuse us sometimes, and I get the hate
did
mail.
they?
Yeah, I told you that. I told you last week. I had someone
Yeah.
reach out to me about something you said a few weeks ago.
Nobody's going to Joe or whatever his name is.
Oh yeah. Anyways,
Joe's church.
Yeah, I thought you were saying that they get you and the other preacher,
no,
pastor guy.
no one confuses me with someone that smiles a lot. I think it's important to remember that our talents are from God. So like He gives them to us to utilize.
Yeah.
So when you look at Matthew 24, there's there it's talking about more money. Like I give you these, you give this many talents, you get this many. Talking about money, but I think the gifts that you have, rather than think of them, they're on loan. Like there's a reason you have them. You need to utilize them in a correct way.
Yeah.
So.
That's deep.
Thanks, Nick.
That's good stuff.
Well, and then you look at, who do you use them to serve?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could, like, I think, like, so both you guys have listed things that you're uniquely gifted in. That talent can be really used in the business world, and not that you shouldn't, right? If it's something you're gifted at.
Sure.
But you wouldn't have to use that in the church world to serve the church, serve your family, serve your friends. You could selfishly use the talent that, hey, I'm good at connecting. I can get people to do things, right?
So catch up popsicles to women in white gloves.
Yeah.
So there's a way that you can misuse your talent.
Yep.
And so we got to be careful on that.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah. What are you uniquely gifted at?
Nothing.
yeah, really, I don't know. Like I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm pretty good at plunging toilets around here. So,
Yeah.
they kind of use me for that. And
Yeah.
Yep. I'm great at making redheaded girls.
yeah, I have 3 redhead girls.
You did a good job there.
That's weird, but that's
Hey, but it's your talent. Good
But it's
job.
your talent.
Hey,
no.
really lean into that.
Sometimes I'm really glad Karen doesn't listen to this.
Yeah. No kidding.
I picked up. My struggle was probably like leaning into what my talent was and wanting other people's gifts. So I'm not great at being in a room. I'm not extroverted. You put me in a room with a lot of people. Put me in a waiting room. I mean, when Nick came out and I was sitting there by myself, I had moved over to the back corner, sitting there with my computer out, working by myself.
Like I posted up in the middle of the waiting room
did.
at a round table that was, big enough for 10 people, and
See, and
there was
that's
2 of us sitting there.
But see, that's something I would not have done. I would have been much more like you. It's a weird thing about me with my personality is I lean way more towards being introverted.
Yeah.
But and just I guess I don't understand all the introvert and extrovert stuff because for me it's just so much depends on the environment and what I'm there to do. But I'm usually happy if I just find a spot to sit alone and all that stuff. But I don't have a huge desire to be out and life of the party and all that stuff. So it just happens.
Maybe
Yeah, it
that's
does.
my problem.
Well, I think God used so I would say I never thought I'd be a pastor. I never thought I'd stand in front of people to speak.
Yeah.
And God He wired me that way, but He had to like push me along and clearly show me this is what you're going to do. You're going to lead. And then it took me a while to finally realize that if I don't use the leadership ability God has given me, like I'm wasting what God put me here for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and going back to my story just a little bit, that I didn't get into before. So the former pastor of the church that I had been in since I was a teenager, he was there for 24 years, I think, and he left. He resigned in like height of COVID. It was like June of 2020, and so I stepped in, and it was the interim pastor there. I'd gone to Bible college, all that stuff, but I had no desire, no goal of pastoring, but we needed somebody. And so, pulpit committee was formed and we were looking for somebody. And over time, as we interviewed people and they came in and preached, every time it happened, I just had this feeling of like, maybe there's more here for you, Shane.
Yeah.
Maybe you really are supposed to do more. And then, it just became abundantly clear. My wife went to that ladies' retreat that we had talked about. Like a week or two later, I went to the men's retreat, and both of us in prayer, those different times, hadn't talked to each other about it. I come back and she's like, hey, we need to talk. I was like, hey, I was going to tell you the same thing. And ultimately she's like, yeah, God really spoke to me and showed me that you need to do more of the church. And I said, honestly, that's really crazy, because I feel like God was very clear with me that it was time for me to step into that pastor role if the church would have me.
Yeah.
And they did. And it's been a wild ride, and it's just not something I ever would have seen myself doing. Not because I didn't love the people or love the church or love the Bible. Like, it was just, not me,
Yeah.
like there's pastors, and then there's
Yeah.
like, there's me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
That's
be
what I
that.
tell Nick all the time. There's a pastor and there's Nick.
you. Fair.
Which kind of leads to the next thing I wrote down when I was thinking about this today is that, the church is a body, right? Is how Scripture talks about it. It all works together. And in the body, there's no useless members, right? So every part of your body is important. I found out after sticking something through my finger that I needed it.
This goes back to our text yesterday.
I don't know what we text yesterday.
No,
but
I text you
okay.
something. And I said, this is why you're a pastor and you have a friend like me. And
That
you
is
said,
true.
most pastors need a friend like
Yeah,
you.
yeah, they do.
I say the things that you necessarily can't.
Yes. Yeah, you said something that I would not say.
Right. But I felt more than comfortable saying it.
Yeah, it
And
may have
you-
needed said.
I think you literally
You said
laughed
it
out
at
loud.
church?
No, I said
not
it in a
yet.
text.
Yeah,
So there's record of it, but
There is.
we don't speak of it.
no.
Except on a podcast.
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
speak
yeah.
of the details.
Oh, okay.
But I just think that
Well,
sometimes,
like you said, the church is a body, and the church has
is a
got
body.
it's got a bunch of different members, and the members all do different things, and
and that's how it works together. But
Right.
sometimes we celebrate, I think, certain gifts too much. So if someone is really good, like being out front, like maybe it's the pastor, right? He can speak, and maybe has some
Yeah.
leadership ability, and you look at him
maybe it's a
like,
piano player.
maybe it's the piano player.
Yeah.
Don't make any.
I'm not.
We people make fun of our piano player all the time.
Oh.
We need to have him on the podcast.
We
make
do.
Fun of him. No,
To get
I don't. Other people do.
I have to get a bar stool for him so he can sit up.
He's great. He's
He is.
really he's an awesome piano player.
Yeah.
Does a terrific job, and that's why everyone makes fun of him, I think, because he's so good.
Yeah, he's very
talented.
passionate about it.
Passionate.
And-
This excellent. Yeah.
And he takes our humor well.
Yeah,
That's
he's a
good.
great
That's
guy.
important.
I'm building this up because you know that worship directors are really hard to find.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like-
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, all the incredible things you were saying about him before we started the podcast.
Yes,
I think
thank
that-
you.
That helps
Thank
a lot
you.
too.
We should have him on.
I know,
He
he'd
has
be
a pretty
fun.
incredible story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's book him, Blake. Anywhere where it's gone.
Send him a Facebook
So we
message.
need our piano player at church.
Right.
He'd be the first one to tell you that he's not going to preach.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because him and I talked once about him speaking. He's like, I think he may get to the place where he does some
I
of it.
speak like this,
It's not his thing.
and it's not sign language.
But I'm not going to get behind the piano either and play.
Yeah.
So, and we
Yeah.
need Nick here. Like Nick at church, like he plunges the toilets. So
Yeah.
Does all kinds of things.
That's
Yeah.
important.
but God doesn't value one talent above the other,
Right.
right? So it's all just as important.
All right.
So
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Absolutely. Some of the best church members that I have are people that don't.
They're the quietest ones.
Yeah, that's true. they don't have necessarily a role that people would look at and even recognize as a
Yeah.
role. But the reality is that as part of the body, they're one of the main pieces keeping us
Yeah.
going, and so they've been
Yeah, without them, you'd
fantastic.
surely see a drastic difference.
Absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So I think, we have talents, which we've been talking about. Matthew 25, we see it like using to serve the church, right? Obviously our family. I think the other part of that is we need to make sure as men that we are serving our communities well as well. So if God's gifted you in certain areas, like how are you using that to serve that town, city, wherever you find yourself? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's important to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, and our families.
yeah, definitely our families.
How are we serving our families? Are we serving them properly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot here.
There's a lot.
You want to break that down or just skip on past that one?
What, serving our families?
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think that's part of so I have daughters, so part of me serving my family is also trying to get them to see how they use their talents to serve others.
Yeah.
Which it's been interesting because they're gifted very differently
Oh, yeah.
from each other. And so them seeing that, hey, one of you may be really gifted in this area and really good at it. she's
Yeah.
no better than you are.
Right.
You just have
Yeah.
this other area that you're going to serve.
Right.
So my daughter's like, I have one that's really outgoing, can get in front of a crowd. I had a guy the other day show up here at church. He's 94 years old, doesn't come every week now. And he told me, he's like, really what should happen is you should step down and let your 19-year-old take over as pastor because she's a better leader than you. I don't think he was joking.
Yeah. Well,
I said, okay. But she is a gifted leader, and I have another one that's just really good behind the scenes. So trying to like shepherd them to see their talents,
Yeah.
I think is important. So I think as a man, if you're leading your family, you should be helping your family kind of lean into those.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to what you were talking about with what you had talked about with David. And I mean, he was behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Was kind of forgotten by
Right.
his dad. You know, you don't get more behind the scenes than that. But God saw him. He saw his talent. He saw his heart, and he had a plan for him. And so I think it's important for men to realize that wherever it is they are right now, wherever it is they are planted, grow there.
Yeah.
Like, do the best that you can to serve there, to serve faithfully, to work hard. I think, especially, especially in business, I'll bring a new agent in, and they're all excited, like, oh yeah, I'm going to help so many families, and this is going to be awesome. And
Yeah.
and I'm like, yes, absolutely, and I certainly encourage that. I
Yeah.
want that to happen.
right.
But one of the key things that I will look at if I'm hiring somebody is I want to know, well, what have you done in the past?
Yeah.
Where have you been in the past, and what did you do there? Because don't think that you've been lazy in this situation and not used your gifts, not used your talents here.
Yeah.
But then now all of a sudden in here you're gonna,
Yeah,
just
you're
take
gonna really
off.
blossom.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. Are you doing what you're supposed to in the place that you are currently?
Yeah.
So,
That's what, when we look for interns here at the church or to hire, some younger staff, we know we're going to send
Yeah.
out and things. My preference is to hire someone in our church or another church, but that's like faithfully serving,
yeah.
whether that's teaching the 2 and 3-year-old class every Sunday, but faithfully doing that, rather than like sometimes you get some people right out of seminary and it's like, hey, where did you serve while you're going to seminary? Well, I didn't. Well,
Right.
Okay, why weren't you using your talent during that
Yeah.
time? So it's the
Yeah.
same concept.
Yeah, no, and in today's world, it's difficult for a lot of people to find jobs sometimes because they are, these jobs require X amount of years of experience.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I'm just out of college. Like, what do you mean
Yeah.
X amount of years of experience? And so, like, I don't want to go so far to where I'm like, yeah, you need to have worked for 5 years in the industry. Well, no, that's silly. I'm not looking for people like that. But I want to know wherever you were
Yeah.
in school, in sports, in another job, like a past job, like whatever. What
Yep.
were you doing where you were using your talents, and were you serving faithfully in that? Because that tells me what you're going to do in this next next part.
That's good. And then I think it kind of wrap this up, like serving is good for you. So when you're passionate about something, you're gifted in this area, and you're serving others with it, I think that's good for your own soul
Yeah.
as well, right? I mean, you
Oh,
go
yeah.
home at the end of the day after,
And look how rewarding it is.
rewarding. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So as we kind of wrap up our time with you, a couple questions. One would be like, how can guys connect with you? Are you on like Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram,
Yep. On Facebook.
X?
Yeah. No, I'm not on.
Okay.
I actually, I think technically I am
Okay.
on there, but it's certainly not active. But yeah, you can find me on Facebook, Shane Steward.
Okay.
If you can't find me, just go to RT's Facebook, and I'm friends with him on
Yeah.
there. So just search that, and you'll find
Yeah.
me.
He won't reply to my messages, but he's on there.
Yeah.
What about your church? Like if guys looking for a church?
Yeah. So
Where are you located at?
So it's in Franklin, Indiana. So just off of 44, just outside of Franklin.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean we're a church that's going through a lot of changes right now. We're super excited about it. Would love to have you stop by and worship with us. So it's fmpbc.org that you can find us, or find us on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And would love to connect.
You want to promote your financial business?
Sure, yeah,
how can
yeah,
guys, you said you do
absolutely.
some financial management. What if guys are, because we talked a couple weeks ago about the importance of like getting out of debt and some of that
Oh, yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So one of the, and I'll just give you like a super brief overview. So obviously you're going to be familiar, I would assume, with the name Dave Ramsey. right?
Yeah,
Dave
yeah, he was on here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, we talked to him a few times.
Yeah. I think we've had him on, yeah. So he teaches a lot of really great concepts.
Yeah.
With Financial Peace University and all of that stuff. Well, we teach. I teach pretty much all the same concepts.
Okay.
We have a couple minor differences, but what I'm really able to do is I'm able to bring that education and put together financial plans free of charge.
Okay.
So the only way somebody pays, the only way that I get paid is if somebody moves forward with some of the recommendations in the plan.
Okay.
And they don't pay me. The companies that I market the products for,
Okay.
they pay me. So it's a really great thing there, because financial planning can be very, very expensive for some of
And
the
daunting.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
People
Yeah.
don't know and they don't understand. But
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and so anyway, if anybody would like to connect with me on that, again, you can message me through Facebook, and would love to get with you.
All
on
right.
that.
A few questions in our lightning round to finish it up. You ready?
I suppose so.
Nick,
I've never
you
made it this long in a
Yeah.
podcast.
Here
so.
we go.
Nick, you got a question?
Yeah. What would be a book that you'd recommend to guys? Not the Bible.
Not the Bible. Yeah. So two books come to mind first. One I mentioned before with Wild at Heart by John Eldridge.
Okay.
I think that book just does an unbelievable job of speaking to the heart of a man. And then the other one would be a book called The Traveler's Gift. The Traveler's Gift is a book by Andy Andrews. You read through that book, if you, even as a man, if you make it through without, shedding a tear, then I don't know.
Then you have no heart.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know.
All right. If you could meet someone from history, not Jesus,
Yeah.
who would it be?
You guys are awfully anti-Bible and
I
anti-Jesus.
know. Well, so what
man.
happened was originally I had these
Goodness
questions,
gracious.
and every guy's like, "Well, I recommend the Bible."
Yeah.
Or, I want to meet Jesus. Like,
Yeah.
well,
It's
you
real
should already
easy
know
for the
him.
go-tos, but
Yeah.
I know how to answer all these questions correctly. Did I get an A?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a person from history.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess. So he's from history, modern history, but I would love to spend a lot of time with John Wooden. I've always
Okay.
looked up a lot
Yeah.
to John Wooden. His
He's a basketball coach, right?
yes.
I know my sports
There
today.
you go.
Look at you, man.
I know it.
Yeah,
Did
John
you already
Wooden.
ask the questions earlier or something?
No, I just know that one. I've actually read some of his stuff and followed him a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's
there
pretty
we go.
fascinating. No one's ever said his name on here though.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
Yeah.
first.
pretty
Well,
recommend,
hey.
yeah. Is there another question?
Oh,
Please,
yeah.
I hope more than two.
Yeah.
If you were, if someone was to play you in a movie, who would play you?
Shoot.
Right? Who would you want to play you?
I would want probably like Ryan Reynolds to play
Like
me.
a movie or Shane's Live? Who would
Yeah.
Who's
play
Ryan
you?
Reynolds? What's he playing?
Oh my god.
He's an actor.
Is he playing a movie I'd know?
I can't with you. Yeah, he does a lot
Yeah,
of things
probably a
you
few.
should know.
Let me Google him.
Yeah, Google Ryan Reynolds. So yeah, I don't know, man. I've not even thought about that. I'm trying to think of all the really attractive guys that like guys that are like, oh yeah, I would want him to play me.
Yeah.
But it'd probably be somebody like Bert.
Hey man,
what's
wait a
his
minute.
name?
I don't want to interrupt, but I don't think Ryan Reynolds is it. Go ahead.
Really, I thought for sure because I was trying to think.
No, I don't know, man. He looks like he has a lot of hair, unless I look at the
Yeah.
wrong Ryan Reynolds. I don't.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Just take your shirt off. You can do Bert Kreischer.
I'm the machine.
I'm the machine.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up. Like we've had enough.
There's three.
come on,
There's
three?
three.
There's
That's
more.
it. No, there's not. Blake, tell me that's it. Blake, is there another question?
No, I've seen some that are like 30 minutes. This
Yeah.
was not 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
No,
You guys
this
are
is-
cutting me off.
I don't know anymore. I don't know the lightning round
We'll
questions.
bring up the machine at the end. I think it kind of threw Blake for.
Yeah.
This has been good. I will say this: if you ever want to come back on, we'd love
He
to.
probably
have
just dumped it, to be honest with you.
It's
and just-
been
Love it.
It's been fun having you here. And
Yeah, it's been a good
Yeah.
time.
Nick is always looking to replace me. So
and
Yeah.
Blake's always looking to replace me.
yep. So it's like this, like
if we ever need a
weird
co-host,
thing. So,
I appreciate your time. I mean, we'll. I guess you'll leave that up to find out if anybody actually listens to this one.
We'll
because
find out.
If they start it and then stop, you're like, oh, we probably won't
Yeah,
have Shane
he'll
back.
let us know what the
we started off
analytics
talking
look
about
like.
comedy. I mean, that
Yeah,
draws
there's
in all
got to be.
kinds of
There's
people.
got to be some guys that are like,
Oh, yeah.
oh,
Wait a minute,
they'll
these
listen to Theo Vaughn.
Yeah,
What?
These
All
guys,
right,
these
like
guys
and
watch Cat
share on
Williams.
Facebook. Make sure you haven't subscribed. Subscribe on YouTube. There's
Yeah.
some reels going on out there.
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
Ring
Smash
the
like,
bell.
ring the bell.
Get the algorithm going.
See you guys next week.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for having me again, guys.